You know, a lot of people say that they would do anything for family, but be honest though, if your little sister got kidnapped by an actual demon, you still pulling up? Well, check this out, because honestly, this is one of the creepiest movies that I've seen in a while, and trust me, you are not going to be ready for how it ends. So if your little sister got kidnapped by some kind of demonic cult, what would you do? Well, as usual, I've got the perfect strats to make surviving this one easy peasy. So let's get stuckmanized and break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the Diddy Demon in Shelby Oaks. Alright, we start off back in 2008 with this girl, Riley, trapped in a cabin somewhere deep in the woods. So yeah, you already know what's going down. Now you might be wondering how she ended up in this situation. Well, Riley's actually the host of a paranormal YouTube channel where her and her 3 buddies like to go out ghost hunting. But this time it looks like they picked the wrong house. The tape we're watching is from the last time Riley was seen alive, and at first, she's just sitting there looking completely horrified until suddenly we hear this terrifying roar and a bunch of screaming from out in the hallway. Well, after waiting for the noises to stop, our girl slowly opens the door and peeks outside, but that was her biggest mistake, cause she doesn't make it far before we hear another scream and some footsteps rushing after her. So now you're probably thinking that homegirl's dead, right? But that's where things get interesting, because the truth about what happened is actually much, much worse. Alright, Meat Shields, I know this already looks bad, but trust me, when you see where this is going, you'll understand why Riley should have never opened that door. Now, we'll get to what happened out there in just a second, but honestly though, I can already tell this girl was a couple fries short of a Happy Meal, if you know what I'm saying. Like, I'm sorry, but anybody with 2 brain cells would have never let this happen. Cause you guys, what are you even doing out there in the first place? I mean, I know they were trying to have some ghost adventures or whatever, but this is the actual definition of around and find out. Personally though, I've seen enough to know that nothing good ever happens at a cabin in the woods. So the minute somebody even mentioned something like this, I'd simply say nah and move on with my day. Especially if we're talking about being out there at night. Like, how dumb do you think I am? And I don't know if it ever occurred to them, but this place does not look that abandoned to me. I mean, the lights are on, the bed is made, and there's a freaking TV sitting right there. Like, this is literally somebody's house. So yeah, don't go messing around with spooky places and you won't end up in this situation. Easy. But alright, let's say I was in Riley's position here, right? Well, after hearing what sounded like a freaking T-Rex, straight up demolishing my entire friend group, the one thing I'm definitely not about to do is open the damn door. I mean, seriously. What are you? A freaking NPC from Skyrim? Talking about some must have been the wind? Like, girl, just because it's been quiet for 30 seconds doesn't mean it's magically safe out there. So me, the first thing I would do is push that dresser in front of the door, and then I'd grab something I could use as a weapon, turn off the damn light, whip out my phone, call for help, and just post up. And if anything starts trying to get through the door, I'm hitting a Leon Kennedy front flip straight out the damn window and dipping back to the car. And then I'd just get a normal job like everybody else. But then we cut forward another 12 years to a documentary about the incident. It ended up becoming a massive news story as the police searched for the bodies, but since they were YouTubers, a lot of people thought that this was all fake. And rumors spread around about a second camera that was never found. Well, then the haters got proven wrong when they ended up finding the bodies at a cabin near an abandoned town called Shelby Oaks, but Riley was not with them. And her older sister Mia has been searching for her ever since. It turns out that Riley wasn't your average kid, because even when she was little, she always had these vivid nightmares and would draw everything down in her sketchbook. When the YouTube channel started popping off, people thought it was cap, since they were always catching such wild-ass footage. But Mia knew her sister wouldn't play about that kind of stuff, and after one particular trip to an abandoned prison, everything suddenly changed. On the tape, Riley goes up to one of the cells and immediately gets so cold that you can see her breath. And sure, the usual haters were calling bullshit, but Mia says that after that night, her sister was never the same. They ended up going missing 3 weeks later, and the footage from the cabin shows this sketchy dude creeping around the house. So it seems pretty obvious that he's the one who did it, right? But it gets even weirder than that, because once the footage was released to the public, people noticed some kind of giant demonic monster standing in the window. Well, as a kid, Riley always had these nightmares of something looking inside her bedroom, and on the tape from the cabin, Mia swears that she heard her sisters say, "He's back." Ever since then, Mia's life has basically been on standstill. Her and her husband Robert gave up on having a baby, and she's pretty much spent every day trying to figure out what happened. But today, that is all about to change. So they're taking a break from filming when they hear a loud knock at the door, and when Mia goes to answer it, she's really confused to find some random dude posted up on the front steps. But then, out of nowhere, old buddy just pulls out the blammer and hits 0 HP right in front of them. And that's not even the weirdest part, because in his hand, he's holding a mini cassette tape labeled Shelby Oaks. And before the police get there, Mia decides to keep the tape for herself. All right. Well, damn! This girl can't catch a break. I mean, what happened to her sister was traumatizing enough, but like, imagine you're just expecting it to be the DoorDash driver and then, ba-bam, straight back to therapy. Well, on the positive side, at least now she's got some new evidence, but before we get to what's on the tape, there's one little thing we gotta talk about first. Because after seeing how long Mia's been going through it, it got me thinking about how stressed I would be if I was in her situation. But that's when it hit me. I would have found this girl years ago. And yeah, I know what you're thinking, the police already tried, but chill, hear me out. The minute I realized that 12 is not getting the job done, I'm doing these 3 things first. I'm calling up a private scent dog team. Yeah, maybe you didn't know those existed, but if you've got the bread, you can literally just hire the freaking Paw Patrol to go out there and start sniffing around. And since a dog's nose can be up to 100,000 times more sensitive than ours, they can lock in on one individual scent out of thousands and track it for miles. But next, I'm going straight to Best Buy and picking up a drone. And then last, I'm hitting a couple stores for some supplies. Probably a GPS, some flashlights, walkie-talkies, you know, all the good plus a crowbar in case I gotta smash something, and of course a little blicky for safety. Then I'll meet up with the dogs at the cabin where Riley was last seen, give them some of her old clothes for the scent, and just sit back while they work their magic. And at first it might seem like she could be anywhere, right? But that's not necessarily true, because in a lot of cases, the missing person ends up being found within a quarter mile of where they disappeared. So while the dogs do their thing, I'll send up a drone and start looking for any hidden shacks, unmarked trails, or any other signs of human activity. And between all of that, I feel like we'd find something pretty quick like. Okay, so later on that night, Mia is sitting on the couch with this dude's blood still all over her face. So yeah, it's pretty safe to say that she is not doing too good, mentally speaking. But then her husband decides that he's going to bed, and she sneaks into Riley's old room and starts watching the tape. Well, sure enough, it turns out to be footage of her sister, but not only that, it's actually the tape from the missing camera. Things start off pretty normal at first, but the whole time Riley keeps getting this weird feeling like something's out there watching them. They eventually end up back at the cabin where it all went down, and that's when things start getting pretty sketchy, because after sneaking in, they notice somebody walking up to the front door. But instead of opening it, he just stands there for a minute like he's lost or something, before suddenly vanishing around the other side of the house. Well, Riley seems to think that they're playing some kind of prank, so she storms off to the bedroom where we first saw her. But then the tape cuts to late at night and they hear a loud crash from somewhere outside. So one of them goes to check it out, but as soon as he gets to the corner, the stranger knocks him down and grabs the camera as something literally starts ripping this dude's face off. But it gets worse, because the tape cuts over to the moment when Riley was attacked, and that's when we finally see the suspect's face. And as it turns out, it's none other than the same dude who just uninstalled himself in front of the crib. Needless to say, this is all some pretty mind-blowing shit. See what I did there? Ha, okay. But the tape abruptly cuts out, and that's when Mia sees it. A giant, wolf-headed demon with glowing eyes staring straight through the window right behind her. And when she slowly turns around to look, she actually sees its freaking breath fogging up the glass. Well, the thing about Mia is, she is about that action. So after seeing this terrifying monster posted in the window, she straight up grabs a baseball bat and runs outside to 1v1 him. Like, damn, Mia, I see you. But the demon decides to bounce before she can run its fade, and that's when her hubby comes out to see what the hell is going on. Alright, well, now I'm starting to get why the cops don't care about solving the case. Cause I thought these kids were pretty dumb before, but after seeing them all get smoked live on camera, it made me realize just how avoidable all this really was. So yeah, Riley and friends, you done did it up. Now, first of all, you already know how I feel about the whole ghost hunting thing. Who in their right mind hears about some haunted town in the middle of nowhere and thinks, well, I better go check that out. Who the are you, Scooby-Doo? This ain't a damn cartoon. This is real life. And I mean, it's one thing when people just go missing doing regular, everyday activities, that's tragic. But you're telling me you chose to drive all the way out there when you literally could have done anything else? And now you expect me to feel sorry for you? Get real. And you know what's actually crazy? There were about 5,000 times they could have got out of this. Seriously. The second this dude pulled up at the front door on some Michael Myers type just leave. There was nothing stopping you. As soon as I saw that guy disappear around the corner, I would have disappeared straight back to the freaking car. You know, like anybody with an actual brain. But tell me why, after almost getting packed up the first time, y'all decided to stay at the same cabin until it got dark out? What? I mean, I've heard of NPC level thinking before, but you guys, this is something else. Oh yeah, and just when I thought they couldn't get any more brain dead, they heard this terrifying crash outside and actually decided to just go check it out. No backup, no weapon, nada. And I'm saying, you gotta at least bring a meat shield or something, my guy. Come on, this is basic So yeah, me, the second I heard anything outside, I would have been pushing stuff in front of the door and posting up with a weapon for exactly this reason. And honestly, besides the demon stuff, they should have totally been able to work this guy into a 4v1, but I guess that's why their ghost hunting careers were shorter than a TikTok kid's attention span. And that's how you know you done f***ed up. So Mia brings her husband upstairs to show him the tape, and obviously my boy has some questions like, where did it come from, and why did she hide this from the cops? But as we're about to see, Mia likes to do things her own way. Well, at some point later, they meet up with the detective who's handling the whole front porch situation, and they learn that the guy who showed up at their crib was a criminal named Wilson Miles. Turns out he served time at the same prison where Riley filmed that one episode. And after getting out, he kind of just disappeared. Mia decides to just keep it under wraps. Back at home, the Hubs can't believe that she lied to the cops. But Mia sees things differently. She knows that if she gives up the tape, they'll consider it mystery solved, and that would be that, case closed. Which means they'll completely give up on finding Riley. So instead of letting that happen, she's gonna have to handle this one by herself. So Mia heads down to the local library and starts hitting the books. And it's not long before she starts finding even more bizarre details. It seems like the prison where Miles served time closed down after a deadly riot, and the newspapers claimed that there were rumors that demonic spirits were somehow involved. This leads Mia to meet with the place's former warden, and apparently this dude Miles was a creep even by prison standards. The warden says he was a quiet guy who never said a word to anybody, and on the day of the riot, a freak computer glitch accidentally opened all the cells where most of the dangerous criminals were kept. But even though his cell was wide open, Miles just stood there staring out the window like nothing was even happening. Alright, well, it sounds like this dude Miles was a problem since day one, but now that he's looking up at us, it might seem like Mia just hit a dead end. But also, that's where you could be wrong, cause you see, listening to the warden's story got me thinking about what this dude was up to in between the time he got out of jail and the night he pulled up on Riley. And I realized that Mia might already have everything she needs to find her sister. But first though, there's one huge mistake that she's making here. After 12 years with no answers, I can see why she'd be skeptical of the cops. And I'm not gonna lie, keeping the tape to watch first was low-key a smart move, but now that she's seen the tape and knows everything about this guy Miles, it would honestly be a lot smarter to just tell the cops and let them try to help. I mean, realistically, they have a lot more resources to work with, and Mia can always keep investigating things herself, plus, with the fact that there's clearly some kind of demon involved, it definitely couldn't hurt to have some extra meat shields on the case. But back to what I was saying about Miles, since we know he disappeared right after getting out of prison, but then popped up again on the night he attacked Riley, it only makes sense that whatever hideout he was using must be somewhere within walking distance of both of those places. Are you following following me? Because, like, here's what I would do in this situation. First, I'm going back to what I said before about calling in the Paw Patrol. Only this time, we're not looking for Riley's scent, we're looking for Miles's. And you're probably thinking, where are we gonna get that? But I've already got it figured out, because Miles's scent should be still on the VHS tape. So we let the dogs sniff the tape, then they go out check the area, and between that and looking around with the drone, we should be able to find the spot where the dude was hiding. And after that, there's a good chance we'll end up finding Riley in the same place. And then, bam, mystery solved. That night, Mia's back to watching the tape when she notices something in the background. In the footage from the amusement park, there's a split second where she catches something behind Riley's shoulder. And as she looks closer, she realizes that it's the same demonic creature from the other night. So now, Mia thinks that she's got the whole thing figured out, because it seems like ever since Miles was born, Shelby Oaks started falling apart. And it kept getting worse and worse until there was nothing left besides the park and the prison. But check this out, right? Because while Miles was locked up, Riley's nightmares stopped. One night when they were kids, Mia went to sleep in Riley's room, but after her sister fell asleep, she started hearing something tapping on the window, and all of a sudden the glass cracked. She always thought it was just a fluke, but now she thinks there was actually something out there, and whatever it was using Miles to get to her sister. Well, her husband thinks that she's officially off her rocker, and I mean, who could blame him? But even though it sounds crazy, Mia's convinced that she's on the right track. She's back to going through Riley's stuff again when she finds a mysterious book on demonolatry, and she instantly recognizes the symbol on the cover from her research back at the library. It's something called the Mark of the Incubus, and we ain't talked about the band, y'all. It's actually some kind of parasitic demon that looks a hell of a lot like the shadow people that her sister used to draw. Coincidence? I think not. So later that night, Mia's just chilling on the porch looking through Riley's old sketchbook when she hears something panting from somewhere nearby. And when she looks up, she's horrified to see some kind of evil-looking demon dog posted at the edge of the yard. Nervous, she gets up without taking her eyes off it and starts backing up towards the door, but the dog just stands there snarling at her, until when she finally reaches the handle, it suddenly just disappears. She goes back to Riley's bedroom, where the cracked window is steadily getting worse, and as she's watching the footage from the prison, she makes another shocking discovery. It turns out that the cell where Riley got the creeps was none other than that one that belonged to Miles himself. So now Mia's convinced that there's gotta be more to the story, and without wasting any time at all, she hops straight in the truck and starts speeding over there to have a look for herself. Alright, well Mia, I guess it was nice knowing ya. Now I'm not gonna lie, this girl might be one of the realest sisters that I've ever seen. Like, she figured out that a literal demon might be involved and just went straight to business. No hesitation or nothing. But first, we gotta understand what we're dealing with, okay? So in case you've never heard of an incubus before, I got you. Basically, an incubus is a male demon that invades your dreams. Kind of like Freddy Krueger, okay? But it's not exactly after your usual demon stuff. An incubus, well, let's just say that these dudes are the diddiest demons of them all. Like, they're not just trying to possess you, they're trying to be your baby daddy. So yeah, safe to say this dude is a problem. But no matter what kind of freaky shit they're into, a demon's still just a demon at the end of the day. And at this point, I've watched enough Conjuring movies to know exactly how to handle it. After seeing what happened to Riley and her friends, we already know this could get pretty dangerous. So if I'm Mia, then before I go anywhere, I'm gonna make sure that I'm ready. Like number 1, I would hop online and download a copy of the Roman Ritual. This is the book that priests use when they perform exorcisms. And inside that book, they'll find all kinds of Latin prayers. But hold on, because this is where it actually gets good. After picking up the book, my next stop is gonna be to the local sporting goods store, where I'm gonna grab a full set of hockey pads and a baseball bat. But why, you might ask? Well, since demons are always launching stuff around, I need the pads to protect me from impacts. But then, we're gonna need those Latin prayers and actually write them on the pads and the bat. So now they'll be anti-demonized to counter its demonic powers. Hold the autographs, please. I'm also gonna grab a Ziploc full of salt so I can throw down anti-demon barriers, a super soaker filled with holy water, and some gear to start a fire in case anything's gotta get burned up. Then at least I'll be pulling up to the fight with more than just a flashlight and a can-do attitude. And I'll be ready to throw some hands if this demon actually shows up. So Mia gets to the old prison and just busts right in through a window on some Outlast type shit. And it looks like the place is completely abandoned. But from the second she climbs inside, she can't shake the feeling that she is being watched, until she eventually gets to an old spiral staircase. So it's up we go until she gets to the 3rd floor. And even though it's still just her in there, every step feels like she's getting closer to something that's just waiting in the shadows. Well, halfway down the row of cells, she finally sees it. Cell number 37. The cell where that creep Miles was locked up. And when she looks out the window, she realizes that bro was staring at the amusement park the whole time. And I mean like staring at it, you guys. There's literally marks on the ground from dude standing so long in the same spot. Ugh. But that's not even the worst part, because as she looks around the cell, she finds her and Riley's initials carved into the walls, like, oh, hell no. And there's that demonic symbol with the words, Almighty Tarion, written underneath. But who the flip is Tarion? Well, just chill for a second because we're gonna get to that. But suddenly it gets so cold that Mia starts to see her own breath. And that's when she hears a demonic voice speaking to her from the shadows. Just then, the demon roars as Mia dives out of the cell, but she ends up busting her flashlight on the way out. And with no way to see what's coming, she just sits there terrified as these massive footsteps start slowly coming closer. Until, all of a sudden, a huge dog appears out of nowhere and snaps right next to her face. A giant demonic arm reaches out of the darkness and holds the dog back. But she picks herself up and straight up dips out of there as fast as she can. Lucky enough, she's able to get back to the truck without any trouble. So now you're probably thinking she's just gonna give up and go home, right? But nah, it's like I already told you, Mia is about that life. So she decides to pull up at the amusement park and see what else she can find. Alright now, Mia's either a lot braver or a lot dumber than I am, but honestly, I'm starting to think it's a little bit of both. But the truth is that she's kind of lucky that she made it out of there in one piece. And I'm sorry, but she's gonna need to work on her strategy unless she wants to end up like her sister. Now, before we talk about anything else, there's something we gotta address here first. Cause like deadass, our girl's out here moving with the reaction time of a 200-year-old turtle. Like bro, you gotta do better than that. I mean, seriously, Mia had about 3 to 5 business days to just get up and run while this thing was aura farming her. So yeah, the second I heard those giant footsteps coming my way, I would have been gone faster than anything you'd ever seen. But I can tell Mia's just not used to fighting demons, cause she just made a huge rookie mistake and I'll tell you why. You see, when you're dealing with a demon, there's actually a lot of very specific rules you gotta follow, and arguably the most important one is to always make sure you close off the link before running away. And yeah, I know it sounds silly, but that's the rules. I'm just telling you. Because when a demon appears, it's actually crossing over from the spirit world into our world. And as long as the gate stays open, it's never really gone. So anytime you think you might have just encountered a demon, you gotta make sure you command it not to follow you. Otherwise, you're just taking old boy for a field trip. And yeah, it seems like this thing's been latched onto Mia for a while now. So at this point, it's gonna be a little harder to get rid of. But it never hurts to check all your boxes just in case, I'm telling you. I mean, I understand why Mia feels like she has to hurry here, but when you really think about it, it's already been 12 years. So if Riley is still alive, she's probably not going anywhere. And that's why if it were me, I wouldn't be so quick to rush into this. There's no reason Mia can't head home, resupply, and go back to searching in the morning. Oh yeah, and besides the Latin-enhanced hockey pads and baseball bat, now I'm gonna be going to the pet store to pick up some chew toys and treats to counter all those demon dogs. And hell, I might even go down to the adoption center and pick out the biggest, baddest dog I can find. So if the demon unleashes the hounds, now I'll have Cujo on my side to back me up. And then we can go find Riley and settle this all once and for all. So Mia heads to the park and gets in through a hole in the fence. And after making her way over to the Ferris wheel, she finds the exact spot where Riley carved their initials all those years back. But that's when her breath starts fogging up again, and she feels that same terrifying presence watching from somewhere behind her. But the woods are so dark that it just blends right in with the trees. Well, she finally decides to keep it pushing, but she hasn't gone far when she feels something nearby. And as she shines her light around to check, it suddenly falls right on a freaking demon dog that pops up right out of the shadows. And this doggy don't look too friendly, but instead of attacking, it just turns around and starts walking up the path. And that's when Mia realizes that it wants her to follow it. So it ends up leading her straight to this old creepy looking house. And since the lights are on, that can mean only one thing. This place is occupado. So Mia takes a right and starts creeping around the property, where she comes across something that leaves her kinda shocked, because out there in the yard, she finds a bunch of tiny graves, and they all have that same demonic symbol as a headstone. This cannot be good. Well, just then, Mia jumps when she hears a voice call out from behind her, and turning around, she's surprised to find this creepy old lady standing in the doorway. In fact, it's so dark that she can't even see her face, and it's pretty obvious from the jump that Grandma's got a few screws loose. But she introduces herself as Norma and says that she's lived there her whole life, and that's when she invites Mia to come inside. Now, this place looks like something straight out of Resident Evil 7, like everything's covered in this black mold, and it looks like nobody's done the dishes in about 80 years. But Norma's over here acting like it's all normal. And she even offers Mia one of her moldy old crackers. You know, really trying to make it seem like she's just a regular old lady. But Mia's here on business, so she gets a picture out of Riley and asks if Norma's seen her. But of course, Grandma's over there playing dumb, and that's when Mia starts hearing noises coming from the attic. Well, now she's starting to get a little worried, but when she double checks to make sure this old lady lives alone, Grandma just hits her with a real casual nope, and then starts leading her even deeper into the house. So yeah, something about that lady is definitely suspicious, but Mia still has to know if it has anything to do with her sister. So before following her, she grabs a big ass knife out of some moldy piece of meat and hides it in her jacket just in case. In the next room, she finds Grandma just posted up in this tiny ass chair in the corner, and the woman starts asking what happened to Riley. Like, yeah, right, lady, as if you don't know. But that's when this old geezer mentions that she has a son. And when Mia turns around to peep the family photo, it turns out to be none other than creepy old Miles, the dude who jumped her sister. All right. Well, that's just great. It looks like Mia just walked straight into the crib of some kind of redneck witch and her creeper son. At least we know Miles won't be popping out anytime soon. But honestly though, Mia's been going about this all wrong. I mean, like, right off the bat, if I see this demon dog trying to lead me somewhere, I know it's not about to take me anywhere good. So needless to say, I'ma already be mad suspicious. But as soon as we pull up on this Blair Witch ass looking cabin and I see the lights is on, I'm immediately going stealth mode and changing up my whole approach. Sam Fisher style, Splinter Cell. First off, I'm turning off the flashlight and falling back to the edge of the trees, where I can watch this place for a while from a safe distance. Cause before I go anywhere near this house, I wanna know who is home and what they're up to. That way I can get a read on them first before they even know that I'm there. Now, if we're assuming this place is where they took Riley, then we already know whoever's in there is gonna be dangerous. But as freaky as this lady might be, she still has to sleep like a normal person. So instead of giving myself away, I would just wait until she turned all the lights off and I knew she'd gone to bed. Then I'd start quietly sneaking around outside the house and checking the place out. You know, like peeking in through windows, that kind of shit. And I won't get into spoilers, but I'm telling you straight up, the minute I looked through the basement window, I'm whipping out my phone and taking a photo. Then dipping straight back to the car, calling 12 and letting them handle this shit instead. And we'll see how this lady likes it when a damn SWAT team kicks down her door. Now, Mia does try her best to play it cool as this old lady keeps yapping in the background, but Norma starts asking all these weirdly personal questions about why she never had any kids of her own. And yeah, some of y'all might already see where this is going, but Norma here ain't just asking for no reason, I'll tell you that much. Well, as Mia looks around, she starts hearing footsteps coming from somewhere inside the house. But that's when she gets an idea. So she starts pretending like she wants a cracker after all. But as soon as Norma leaves the room, she immediately whips out her phone and starts texting her husband, telling him to check her location and send the cops. She then starts poking around through the old lady's shit, and after finding a photo album, she learns the horrifying truth. Inside, she finds all these photos of Miles and Riley doing some midsummer type marriage ritual. But hold on, because it's getting even worse. On the next page, there's a picture of Riley pregnant, but it doesn't seem like the baby makes it. So they just keep repeating the process over and over again, which explains all those tiny graves in the yard. Well, that's when Nanny comes back, but now she's caught and completely drops the act and starts going full cult mode, saying that what happened to Riley was actually a good thing. Naturally, Mia completely flips out and starts shouting at her to let Riley go, but this lady just nonchalantly pulls back the rug to reveal a freaking trap door hidden underneath. And without missing a beat, she just opens that bad boy up and tells Mia to come on down. So that's exactly what Mia does, and she finds herself in this long, moldy-ass tunnel with a small window at the end. But as she gets closer, she comes across a giant cage, and crouched in the corner is none other than her sister Riley. And yeah, it turns out that she's still alive, but she's obviously not doing too well, and at first, she won't even respond to her sister's voice. Heartbroken, Mia keeps begging the girl to snap out of it, until finally, Riley gets up as her memories start to come back. And Mia quickly grabs the key and unlocks the cell, but they're in such a hurry that she completely forgets the knife, and this old lady is still not done with them yet. But just then Mia turns around to see the old geezer heading their way, and as they scramble back towards the steps, they see this huge demonic spirit suddenly appear right behind her, but the girls slam the basement door shut and start running for the door. It almost looks like they're free, but then out of nowhere, Riley turns around, grabs a fire poker, and starts dipping back upstairs. And when Mia chases after her, she finds the trap door already sitting wide open. She catches up with her again on the second floor, where she finds Riley staring at the attic door, but that's when they hear a baby crying on the other side. And at that moment, Mia realizes why her sister decided to turn around. Well, Mia slowly pushes the door open, and as they step into the room, they see Norma standing behind an altar with Riley's son just chilling on top of it. Which is when all of a sudden the woman breaks out a knife and starts performing some kind of ritual to bind the baby with the demonic spirit. So Riley lifts up the fire poker and starts charging straight at her, but she uses her demonic powers to knock Mia back, and starts lifting Riley high into the air before slamming her back down onto the floor. Stunned, Mia picks herself up and rushes to help her sister, but they're too late. And the old woman finishes the ritual before falling over from her injuries. But as she's about to die, she crawls over towards this carving of both of the girls' initials on the wall. And that's when Mia realizes that they weren't just watching Riley, they were watching her as well. Okay, well damn you guys, this has got to be the weirdest family reunion that I have ever seen. Like, oh hey Mia, come meet your new nephew, the demon baby. Like, nah, that's some pretty messed up. Well, the old lady might be dead, but it definitely doesn't seem like the girls won here, like, at all. And honestly, I'm blaming 99% of that on Mia, so here's how I would have handled this differently. First off, as soon as I opened up that photo album and saw concrete proof that they were doing all that to my sister, I'm calling the cops immediately. Like, why are we waiting for the husband to call when you clearly have service yourself? Just call them now. And once they're on the way, I'm turning this place into Friday Night Schmackdown. Like, Grandma's about to catch a flying elbow from the top of the rope as soon as she walks in the door. Oh yeah, and I'm sorry, but in a 1v1, I'm absolutely cooking her ass. Like, especially if I catch her off guard before she can start doing any demon stuff. Then I'd stomp her out, search the house without her bothering me, and find my sister and skedaddle. But that still leaves us with one little problem, the demon baby. And now if they'd just kept attacking during the ritual instead of going down after one hit, they probably could have stopped this from happening. But now that it's too late, well, I'm not gonna say it, but I think we all know what they gotta do. But once that's over with, they should be good. Well, as Norma finally goes night-night, Mia notices a strange demonic glow in her eyes that fades out as she takes her last breath. But with the old lady out of the picture, it's time for Mia to finally meet her new nephew. Horrified, she walks over to the crib, not really sure what to expect, but as she looks down into the basket, she starts feeling this confused sense of joy. Because as far as she can tell, it's just a healthy baby boy. You know, except for the whole demonic ritual thing. But remember, Mia never had any kids of her own, so you could probably guess where this is going. Well, this is when we cut over to the hospital where the doctors start taking care of Riley. And yeah, things between Mia and the husband are a little awkward now that it turns out she was right the whole time. But the story's not over yet, because as Riley is lying there in bed, she hears this baby laughing in the next room, and she gets this terrified look in her eyes as she realizes that this was all a part of the demon's plan. The story hits the national news once again, and after being released from the hospital, we find the family back at home trying to live their lives as normally as they can. The documentary crew comes back to get some more footage, and we see that Riley still isn't talking, but Mia is out here acting like she couldn't be happier, and it's all because of that little demon baby. It turns out that Mia decided that they should raise the baby themselves, even though things are gonna get pretty awkward once he's old enough to start talking about Papa. But Riley knows that this baby is bad news, and that night, while her sister's busy with the documentary crew, she realizes what she has to do. Outside, Mia asks the documentarian how the project is shaping up, and she says that this should make for a perfect ending to the story. Like, trust me, lady, you don't know the half of it. Before she leaves, she asks Mia how she ended up finding Norma's cabin. And she says that it was like something wanted her to find it. And it turns out that's actually true, just not in the way that Mia thinks. Back inside, Riley picks up a pillow and decides that it is time. But Mia walks in just in time to see her standing over the crib. Well, the girl starts spitting straight facts about how they can't let Junior here grow up into a demon adult. And now she's gonna take care of it the only way she knows how. But Mia's already too attached to the kid to realize that her sister is right. And they both start battling over the crib as Riley tries to do the thing. But in the chaos, Mia yanks the pillow out of her sister's hands, and losing her balance, Riley ends up falling straight through that old cracked window and crashing to the ground. Suddenly, a demonic howl pierces the air as the three of the demon's hellhounds rush out of the darkness and start eating Riley alive. And there's nothing Mia can do but watch as her sister is torn apart right in front of her, because it turns out this was the demon's plan all along, and ever since they were kids, it was just using Riley to get to her. So as the demon reaches down to grab her shoulder, the same strange glow appears in Mia's eyes, and she lets out a blood-curdling scream as she realizes that she just got played. But it's too late to turn back now, so in the end, I guess that makes 6 down with Mia and her demon baby as the 2 survivors. And we all learned a pretty valuable lesson here. If you've got a sibling that's into ghost hunting, help them find a normal hobby before they end up with a demon for a baby daddy. Shelby Oaks. Boy, I just got Stuckmanized one time. Big shout out to Chris Stuckman and the whole team for putting this joint together. Neon, everybody, the whole situation, fire, 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 fire emoji. And look, I, for one, cannot wait to see what Chris Stuckman, as a filmmaker, does next. Shout out to the boy, shout out to the kid, you know what I'm saying? Real recognize real. Us YouTubers gotta stick together. So yeah, Chris, if you're out there, hit me up one time and let's jump it off, player. And oh yeah, thanks to everybody for watching today's episode. If you guys would have done anything differently, you gotta let me know what it is down in the comments below. I'm sure you guys will. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and subscribe. Check out that How to Beat playlist for more videos just like this one. I'm Ben. We'll see you in the next video and have a damn good day.